Plasma fire streaked through the observation deck's wide arc-glass ports. Gravity trembled beneath Kira Tal's boots as warning sirens wailed, pulsing red light across the blue steel council chamber. Her palms shook on the comms device. She'd barely finished her first briefing as the youngest human envoy ever assigned to the Accord when the attack began. Outside, the swirling purple nebula of the Outer Rim glimmered against the advancing silhouettes of 3 radiant ships. Ethereal, almost like living light, the vessels maneuvered with impossible elegance. Across from Kira, her mentor Captain Chen barked, "All hands brace! Kira, patch me to their channel now." "Ah, yes, sir." Kira's fingers hesitated. She'd studied centuries of human radiant negotiations, but words failed under pressure. The Radiant's radiant ambassador Vahlir appeared on screen, shimmering, faceless, their voice like winds singing through crystal. "Humans, why have you awakened the relic?" The words vibrated in Kira's chest, full of accusation and fear. "You risk everything." Kira leaned forward. "We didn't. Someone. We." The deck rocked, cutting her off. She steadied herself, searching Vahlir's shifting gaze. "There's a rogue element. We want peace just as you do. Let us prove it. Let me speak to your leaders in person." Vahlir's form flickered uncertainly. "Do you speak for all your kind, Kira Tal?" A cold sweat prickled Kira's spine. "Right now, I speak for those who still believe we can trust each other." Another plasma blast struck the hull. Alarms blared. The bridge doors opened and a battered security officer burst in, tossing Kira a data tablet. "Someone's activated genetic failsafes planetside. We traced the signal. Dr. Radon's lab." Captain Chen stiffened at Kira's side. "Radan? He was declared dead 3 years ago." On screen, the Radiant leader's glow pulsed with urgency. "The relic changes more than genes. If it awakens, there will be war, and not just between us." Kira nodded, exhaling determination she barely felt. "I'll go. Let me try to stop Radon before it's too late. But I need your help, Vahlir. Not as enemies, as allies." A heavy pause. Then, to everyone's shock, the Radiant leader whispered, "Meet me at the crater on Sundara. Come alone." The council erupted in protests. Kira's heart pounded. Mission or suicide? The high stakes left no time for doubt, only action. For the first time, humanity's fate wasn't in seasoned hands. It was in hers. Metallic night cloaked the shuttle as it sliced through the Sundaran stratosphere. Kira Tal sat alone save for her own ragged breath, calculating a million things that could go wrong. Above the crater's glow, legend claimed it was where the relic had first touched Earth, shone like an open wound on the planet's violet skin. As the vessel settled with a hiss, static crackled in her ear. Chen's voice, taut with worry. "We'll monitor your vitals, Kira. If you need extraction." She killed the feed. There couldn't be any backup, not if she wanted the Radiant's trust. Her boots echoed on ancient stones as she approached the crater's rim. The air shimmered with heat and something else, a luminous shadow waiting. Vahlir, the Radiant outcast, materialized, their glow dimmer than before. "You came. That shows courage or desperation." Kira's voice was low but didn't waver. "I need answers. Why do the Radiants fear the relic so much?" Vahlir drifted closer, casting odd light patterns on the cracked Earth. "It is not mere science. It rewrites the code of life, disrupting the balance our species worked centuries to build. The last time it was awakened, entire star systems vanished." A cold knot tightened in Kira's gut. Then why was it left here? Why not destroy it? Vahlir's luminescence flickered. Was that regret? "We tried. Some knowledge cannot be unlearned. If the relic signal is active, Dr. Radon is seeking power far beyond human reach." A sudden tremor rattled the crater. From the far edge, figures in matte black emerged, mercenaries. Their leader, a grizzled cyborg, shouted, "Hands up! Step away from the Radiant!" Kira gritted her teeth, stepping forward, putting herself between Vahlir and the mercenaries. "You're making a mistake. There's bigger danger than Radiants or humans. If you awaken that relic." He laughed, metallic jaw clenched. "We're not here to argue. We're here for leverage. Both of you are coming with us." As guards advanced, Vahlir's hum grew sharp. "You would risk all life for quick profit?" Kira met the mercenary leader's gaze, rage and desperation colliding. "You don't understand what you're playing with, and you're not taking us without a fight." Weapons drew. The crater's light pulsed, and deep below, something ancient stirred. At that moment, Kira realized. Her role wasn't just to negotiate peace. It was to survive, outsmart, and lead in the face of chaos. Against all odds, she might be the universe's last hope. The mercenaries fanned out, energy rifles drawn. Kira kept her body between Vahlir and their attackers. Her eyes darted for options: cover, escape, any advantage. Vahlir spoke, their tone rising higher than before. If you harm her, the accord will shatter. You realize this? A burly mercenary sneered. Do we look like diplomats to you, Lightshow? Kira noticed a fissure behind Vahlir, a slim glowing crack in the crater wall. A memory sparked. Sundara's crust was unstable, prone to sudden ion eruptions. She took a chance and whispered, follow my lead. She ducked as blaster fire erupted, searing the air. Kira rolled, grabbing Vahlir's hand, surprisingly warm for something luminescent, and sprinted for the fissure. The mercenaries gave chase, cursing, shots ricocheting off ancient stone. Inside, the fissure widened to a tunnel laced with veins of glowing ore. Vahlir pulsed brighter now, energy infusing the air. Still, fear etched their voice. This path leads to the relic's chamber. Are you certain? Kira nodded, chest heaving. We need answers more than I need to be safe. Behind, the tunnel echoed with pursuit. Kira forced herself onward, pushing past fatigue and fear. Why did your own people exile you, Vahlir? A bitter light flickered. I sought connection with your kind. Humans, my kin, found it dangerous. Now they call me traitor. Another tremor rocked the tunnel. Energy arcs danced along the ceiling, lighting the way ahead. Kira pressed on, emboldened by the radiant's vulnerability. Sometimes the only way to fix something is to risk everything for it. That's what you did, right? Vahlir bowed their head. You sound more radiant than human. A sudden roar. A mercenary skidded into view, rifle raised. Kira dove for a fallen stalagmite, grabbing it as a makeshift club. She swung, knocking the rifle aside. Vahlir surged forward, light dazzling, disorienting the attacker long enough for Kira to land a punch. The tunnel widened, revealing a vast chamber awash in an unearthly glow. At its center hovered the relic, a crystalline sphere, humming with power, suspended over a swirling pool of light. But they weren't alone. At the far end, a gaunt man in a tattered lab coat stood, hands raised in triumph, Dr. Redden himself. He smiled, wild-eyed. Welcome, children of the Accord. You're just in time to witness rebirth or annihilation. A low hum filled the chamber, the relic pulsing as if alive. Kira fought to steady her breath. Just meters away, Dr. Raid circled the relic, his hands dancing over a display of swirling symbols. Vahlir's glow dimmed, rippling with unease, but Kira stepped forward, her voice echoing in the crystalline vault. Dr. Raiden, stop! If you activate the relic, you'll doom thousands, maybe millions. You don't understand what it does. He turned, eyes blazing. On the contrary, young envoy, I understand perfectly. This relic is the key to a new era. No more wars, no more hunger. Imagine humanity raised to radiant potential. Vahlir's voice vibrated with warning. The relic destroyed more than it created. It warps the essence of life. There is no control, only oblivion. Raiden sneered, shaking his fist. Your people hoarded power, drew genetic boundaries, cast out all who dreamed bigger. I lost everything for daring to reach further. Mercenaries spilled into the chamber, rifles trained on Kira and Vahlir. Kira raised her hands but didn't retreat. Listen to yourself. We can do better, Raiden, together. Help us secure the relic. Don't let your pain become the universe's funeral pyre. A beat of tense silence. Then the relic flared, casting spectral shadows across the faces around it. Raiden pressed a control on his wrist. The floating sphere flickered, sending ripples through the floor. Vahlir winced, their light stuttering. Kira stepped closer, risking a glance at Raiden. If you really want to change the universe, don't choose destruction. Choose trust. Work with us, with me. Raiden's resolve flickered, but the mercenary captain bellowed, Enough! This is taking too long. He gestured sharply, and two mercenaries lunged for Kira, but Vahlir exploded in brilliance. The mercenaries staggered, blinded. Kira darted forward, tackling Raiden before he could react. They grappled at the edge of the pulsing pool. A slip could mean instant death. Let go, Raiden snarled, twisting wildly. Kira held firm, desperation giving her strength. You don't have to do this, she gasped. In the chaos, one of the mercenaries fired a wild shot. The bolt split the air, slamming into the relic. All light vanished for a split second, then returned, magnified and furious. The ground shook. Energy surged into every living cell in the room. Everyone froze, stunned. The relic was awake. The chamber erupted in chaos. Arcs of light leapt from the relic, fusing with the swirling pool and crawling like veins across the rocky floor. Kira staggered to her feet, dragging Dr. Radin back from the edge seconds before a blast of energy split the ground where he'd stood. Vahlir was at her side, their glow stretched thin. It's begun. The rewriting. The longer the relic is active, the less of ourselves we remain. Radin coughed, clutching his bruised ribs. Look what you've done. This is our only hope. Kira rounded on him, voice raw. Is this what hope looks like? Mercenaries firing on anything that breathes, the universe tearing itself apart? She turned to Vahlir, desperation sharp in her eyes. Is there a way to stop it now? Vahlir pulsed faintly. Maybe. Legends say the relic recognizes intention. It feeds on the strongest will. But if Radin's pain and rage dominate, all living things connected will be changed. The mercenary captain, still shouting orders, was suddenly flung backward by a snaking bolt of energy. His body spasmed, then he started to change, his skin shimmering, eyes filled with strange blue fire. Panic gripped the remainder of his squad as the same transformation began to play out among them, altered by the relic's wild power. Kira steadied herself as the energy crackled around her, fighting the raw fear trying to take over. Radin, control yourself! This thing is feeding on everything you feel. But Radin gripped his head, racked by agony, muttering, It's too loud. I didn't want this. Vahlir reached out, weaving light between Kira's hands and the relic. We must act together. Our minds, our intent. If we can broadcast unity, the relic may still listen. Kira took a deep breath, closing her eyes. She reached for memories. Small acts of peace, stubborn hope, her trust in Vahlir, even her doubts. Let me be stronger, she pleaded. Let me turn this tide. Energy from the relic pulsed around her thoughts. She felt Vahlir's presence beside her, the thread of their resolve merging with hers. For a moment she glimpsed a vast network, radiant and human, all life at risk, all interlinked by the relic's spread. Behind her, Radin began to cry, broken, human again for just a heartbeat. As she reached out mentally to guide him back, the chamber shuddered, threatening collapse. Kira opened her eyes, heart pounding. In that instant, the entire universe felt balanced on the edge of a single, flickering hope. Cascading light flooded the relic's chamber, painting the wavering forms of Kira and Vahlir in molten gold. The relic vibrated louder, energy rising to a fever pitch. Kira held tight to the image of unity, her hand clutching Vahlir's, the shared hope between two species. Around them, the mercenaries that hadn't collapsed scrambled for cover. Many had dropped their weapons, staring at their rapidly shifting reflections on the glowing chamber walls. Radin fell to his knees, racked by sobs. The air thickened with pure possibility, every thought and feeling amplified tenfold. Vahlir's voice was a whisper in Kira's mind. You must reach him, guide his intention. The relic is listening to you now. Kira trembled as she knelt beside Radin, ignoring the wild sparks of energy nipping at her boots. Radin, look at me. You wanted a better future, not this chaos. Let go of your anger. You're not alone anymore. Radin shook his head, voice hoarse. I lost everything trying to save everyone. What's the point of hope when all the galaxy fears us for chasing it? Kira squeezed his shoulder, refusing to let him drift into despair. Hope isn't about guarantees. It's about fighting past every failure until someone stands with you. I'm standing with you. We all are now. Vahlir's presence burned brighter, their light entwining with Kira's resolve. Release your burdens, Dr. Radin. Your pain is a shadow, not your destiny. The transformation halted. The mercenaries, caught between fear and awe, watched Radin's form stabilize. Even the blue fire in his eyes dimmed. Tears streaked his face as he reached shakily for Kira's hand. Suddenly the relic's hum dropped into a lower register. A question. Kira caught a rush of images. Radiance exiled long ago, human children gazing at the stars, endless moments of connection or betrayal. The relic balanced on a knife's edge. Kira cried out, her voice echoing across both time and space. We choose together, radiant and human, not war, not anymore. A final deafening tremor rocked the chamber. The relic's light surged, blinding, ancient, then flashed silent. When the brilliance faded, the relic hovered quietly, its violence tamed. Vahlir half fell against Kira, their glow exhausted but whole. The mercenaries, now fully human, stared in shock at their unchanged hands. Radin wept quietly, but something in his face had softened. The danger wasn't over, but for the first moment since the awakening, hope had gained a fragile foothold. Up above, the ground continued to tremble. Kira's ears rang with the memory of the relic's roar, her muscles still taut from the effort. The chamber was littered with dust and shrapnel, but a cautious silence settled in its wake. For a few heartbeats, Kira allowed herself to believe they'd won. But Vahlir raised their face, light flickering with dread. The relic's pulse reached beyond this world. Others will know it has awoken. Radiants in humans, those in orbit, and some might want to claim its power. Kira's comm crackled to life. Captain Chen's frantic voice burst through. Kira, multiple fleets incoming. Corporate, Radiant Warrior caste, even Accord regulators. Get out of there! Kira, still kneeling by the relic, answered, We can't just run. If any of them get this, everything we did here could be undone. We need a plan. Raiden wiped his eyes, voice threadbare but clear. There's a failsafe, an encryption key only I know. If we encode the relic, neither side can access it without a unanimous accord. It becomes a symbol, not a weapon. Vahlir perked up, hope returning to their shimmer. The accord was always meant to be more than a line in a treaty. Unity, choice made together. Kira stood, feeling older somehow, and addressed Raiden. Do it, but we'll need the Radiant's trust too. Vahlir, can you transmit a plea, something only your kin would recognize as truth? Vahlir nodded, moving to the relic. They traced a radiant symbol along its surface, sending a pulse into the air. The ground shook as ships began landing on the crater's rim. The chamber lights danced with the glow of radiant warriors above, while heavy boots and mechanical limbs struck the earth, corporate troopers closing in. Kira pulled Radon and Vahlir to her. We stick together. No matter who comes through that tunnel, we speak as one. Vahlir gave her a grateful look. Together, our voices might outshine even the greed of empires. As the first shadow fell across the entrance, gleaming, armored, and backed by the threat of interstellar war, Kira squared her shoulders, ready for whatever reckoning was next. Lasers and floodlights splintered through the tunnel mouth as a squad of corporate marines poured in, exosuits gleaming. Right behind them surged the Radiant Warrior caste, each figure a prism of shifting light, their presence turning the dust to rainbow fire. For one tense moment, neither side attacked, each uncertain who or what now controlled the relic. Kira raised her arms, stepping boldly into the center of the chamber, Vahlir and Raiden just behind her. The relic hovered, pulsing gently, no longer dangerous but powerful all the same. A burly Marine commander barked, Step aside, envoys. That artifact is Sovereign Accord property. At the same time, a Radiant general's voice rang like bells. Surrender the chamber. Humanity's time for control is over. Kira gritted her teeth, refusing to flinch. We can't let either side take it. You all saw what almost happened. This relic changes life itself. To seize it for one side is to invite catastrophe for every species here. Radon stood, voice steadying. I've locked the interface. Only a united accord, radiant, human, and every civilization represented, can access it now. The corporate Marine laughed derisively. You think a scientist's password will stop us? We could burn this room to the bedrock if we have to. Vahler's glow flickered, their voice ringing clear. If you do, you will let loose energies no hull or shield can hold. This world would die, and the relic's wave would sweep the stars. The corporate and radiant troops looked to their leaders with uncertainty. Tension snapped in the air, but Kira took a step forward, her every muscle screaming protest and fear. Argue, threaten, try to dominate, and we all lose, she insisted. But if you work together, here and now, we all have a future. That's the message we'll broadcast galaxy-wide. Not with force, with unity. There was a long, razor-thin silence. Weiss, the Accord's mediator, stepped through the ranks, eyes narrowing as she examined Kira, Vahlir, and the relic. 1,000 years of politics behind her words, she quietly said, Prove it, by surrendering the encryption key in front of us all. Kira locked eyes with Vahlir, then Radon, and nodded slowly. We will, but every Accord world must see this moment. No secrets, no betrayals. Or the relic goes dormant for 100 years. That's our bargain. Outside, an orbital broadcast crackled to life, the eyes of a frightened galaxy turning to the broken, hopeful chamber. As old foes circled, the clock counted down to a choice that would redefine the universe. Not by war, but by a join of hearts and minds. Orbital screens blinked into existence all around the crater, broadcasting live to every Accord colony and radiant enclave across the stars. Kira's heart hammered as her image flickered on feeds from Mercury to the distant mazes of Tao's cloud cities. The chamber was filled with a charged silence, the fate of entire civilizations hanging on her words. Wise stepped forward, microphone in hand. "We are witnessed now by billions. State your intentions, Envoy Tal." Kira drew a shaky breath, voice echoing in the cold, battered air. "I am not speaking only for humanity. I speak for life and for the future we risked so much to save. We hold the relic because we know what it means to lose everything to fear and ambition. Today we return it to the Accord, not to be wielded as a weapon but as a promise, unity or oblivion." The Radiant General, his colors swirling in tension, addressed the galaxy as well. "Radiants have guarded this relic for millennia, fearing its sorrow. But here on this day we see that humanity can change. If you value peace as we do, meet us halfway." A ripple went through the warriors and marines alike. Wise nodded grimly. "The proposal is this. The encryption key will be entered jointly. Each Accord culture, human, radiant, and others, will speak their own word. If you agree, speak now." One by one, representatives stepped forward. Wise entered the human symbol for truth. The Radiant General raised a brilliant hand to inscribe a glyph of memory. Even the somber machine delegate, representing the synthetic consciousnesses, offered a pulse of harmonious code. The relic glowed with each entry, harmonizing with the voices, languages, even unspoken dreams of all who joined the circle. At last, Weiss handed the device to Kira. "Your turn, Envoy." Kira closed her eyes. She thought of her childhood on the waterless plains of Erin, how small and lost she'd felt, and of Vahlir, exiled but hopeful, risking all for unity. She pressed her palm to the interface and whispered, "Hope." The relic shimmered, absorbing the word. The interface dissolved in a spectrum of color, bright enough to reflect in every set of eyes, radiant, human, synth, and more. But as the chamber filled with light, a harsh transmission cracked through the comms. An unknown fleet had arrived, a broadcast full of static and cold certainty. "We refuse your accord, surrender the relic or all shall burn." A hostile third force, one neither radiant nor human, had reached Sundara. The final test of unity was about to begin, and this time, failure would mean extinction for all. The chamber's victory glow faded to sudden dread as orbital feeds filled with alien icons and a cold, unyielding voice. "You speak of unity, yet you leave others outside. We are the ciphers. Your relic was once ours. Now we claim it, or you forfeit all futures." Above, skyships larger than any seen before eclipsed the stars. Energy signatures far older than human or radiant design flared across Sundara's stratosphere. Troops on the crater's rim scrambled, marines and radiant warriors aiming upward with equal parts awe and terror. Kira froze, every instinct urging her to run. Instead, she held on to Vahlir's steadying light. "We can't fight them, not with ships, not with weapons." Vahlir gripped her hand, their chroma bright but uncertain. "If the relic joins us now, its pulse could reach even the ciphers. It listens to will, ours, and anyone willing to hope, but only if all present truly join." Weiss snapped orders, rallying the chamber's defenders. Radon hovered over the relic, torn between science and terror. The Accord's fragile alliance trembled. The Cypher's fleets loomed, broadcasting threats. But then, on the world's feeds, the synth delegate flickered on screen. "We are not alone. Let us reach for peace, not as separate kinds, but as a single chorus." The broadcast widened, thousands watching, billions waiting. Across Sundara, radiant and human, warrior and scientist, even shaken mercenaries joined their voices. Some sang, others spoke, or simply reached out, but all wove hope, fear, and unity into one shared will. Towering silhouettes filled the crater's sky as ciphers descended, yet the relic at Kira's touch pulsed wild and bright. Together with Vahlir, she opened her mind to the alien presence, letting in the unknown, their pain, their longing. "You belong with us," she whispered, voice trembling with resolve. "Together or not at all." A tide of raw emotion surged through the relic, which flared with meaning, from exile and suffering to a promise of future belonging. The Cypher's wrath softened, the ships moving closer but not attacking. Their leader replied, emotion fractured but audible, "We did not believe you able to choose all. We will witness." The relic shone blindingly, a final key entered, shared unity, hope, memory, truth, and now inclusion. As the chamber and its defenders watched, the Cypher fleet shifted from menace to silent orbit. The relic stabilized, its light spreading not as a force to conquer, but as a signal of invitation. As the Accord assembled anew, with Cyphers now among their number, Kira felt worlds-altering. There would be challenges, negotiations, setbacks, but also a future radiant and human, synthetic and cipher, all united by the hardest lesson of all: no one finds peace alone. The Celestial Accord, born on the brink, had become the galaxy's greatest story, not of war, but of shared hope, an ending that, for the first time in eons, felt like a beginning.